Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, South of Heaven. Yeah, I never heard of it either, right? Jason Sudeikis, Evangeline Lilly, I kind of run those names together. Whigham and Mike Colter are all in this. I don't know Mike Colter, but Shea, Jason, and Evangeline, I all know. I know all. I heard of. Boy, I'm cutting this one to pieces. Anyway, I never heard of this film before. 6.1 on IMDb, but only 128 people have rated it so far, so very under the radar, about 2 hours long. It's about a person, a man who gets out of prison after 12 years for armed robbery, and he meets up with the love of his life, from his childhood, his girlfriend or whatever, and she evidently is dying, I think, of cancer, and so he tries to make her last year the best year. That's what it says. I'm assuming Jason Sudeikis is the armed robbery. Shea Whigham, I don't know, probably a parole officer. Her, she's probably the girl. I don't know. I'm guessing. I have no idea. I just found it a minute ago, and I started it, and I'm sharing as much as I know with you. So let me get into it, find out what it's about, give you a better idea, and let you know if it's worth watching. Stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of South of Heaven. Sorry, no check-ins tonight, because to be honest with you, so it was, what did I say, 2 hours long? Something like that, right? Yeah, 2 hours long, almost exactly, right? And the first hour, when I would normally do my check-in, I felt the movie was really what they described in IMDb, and kind of boring. You know, I fell asleep a couple times, but that's to be expected. I wasted a lot of energy watching Penn State lose today, so we won't go there. So I was a little tired, but it didn't keep me, and I had to keep going back and watching it. Anyway, I was right. Shea Whigham does play the parole officer, and he's a jerk. He's a good. He played it pretty well, but he's not like a nice parole officer. I don't know if there are nice parole officers, but he's not. And Jason Sudeikis is the con, and Evangeline Lilly is his girlfriend, fiance that's waiting for him, right? And basically he gets out of prison, and it's not easy being a felon, an armed robber, or whatever you call them, being in prison for 12 years, but he's trying to do his best and live the last year of her life, where she has cancer and she has like 9 to 12 months to live, and and it's, he's struggling with this guy and, all that kind of stuff. And, I'm going to say, again. And so that's what it was. And I was like, I'm not going to check in and tell you all that. I already told you all that. And I'm going to now tell you that. But it really then picks up. It does. I mean, it gets, I don't want to say elaborate, but it gets, there's a lot more depth to the movie that happens in the second hour, I would say. I didn't look at it and stop it and say, is it exactly an hour? But it's not that way the entire movie. There's more than meets the eye. The parole officer is the catalyst for everything, Shea Whigham, and it just kind of builds off of that, or whatever, escalates from that point on, and all the way through, and it kind of stays entertaining the whole second half. So my advice to you is, if you find this review somewhat interesting and decide to go and watch this movie, stick it out. You know what I mean? Make it through that first hour-ish, until, like, Michael Colter, I didn't know who he was. You'll recognize him. You'll know who he is when he sees him. When he starts coming into the picture, that's when it really starts to pick up a little bit more. And even when that happens, for me, it was like, okay, it just keeps going. So there's a lot to it, even right to the end. Right to the end. Now, there is a piece that kind of, for me. And I'll just say this, that Jason Sudeikis is not John Wick. But that's all I'm going to say. You have to check it out. And I'll tell you this too, Jason Sudeikis, I think he was good in some comedy movies. This is not a comedy. And I think he did a great job in this. I enjoyed him acting as the character that he was, you know. And I always like Shea Whigham. He was really good, as usual. He plays a lot of different characters. No Small Parts. Check that one out if you haven't. Check it out. I did a review of that one. That's a great one. He's in that. Totally different character in this one. So good acting between the two of them. They kind of steal the spotlight for the most part. And I thought they did like a really good job in telling the story. Like I said, there's one piece that's just like, meh. Everything else is good, except for like, really, you'll know what I mean when you get to it. Remember what I said, but I'm not going to spoil it. But very nice under the radar movie, I think. It's definitely worth watching if you have 2 hours and you have the stamina to stick it out that first hour, because it's a little boring, but I mean, it's needed. You know, maybe they could have dumbed it down a little. They didn't maybe need all that much, but you know, when there's cake, you know you made it. Put it that way. All right, that's it. Would I give it a 7? A 6 or a 7 for sure. It's in that realm for me. Yeah, there you go. That's what I got. 6.5, 7, I don't know. You know, that's a tough one. But in a 6 and a 7. It's hard to give me a full 7, but it's definitely better than a 6. Take it for what it's worth. Alright, that's it. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, because this was just a fruitful review, and you can't miss another one, right? Whatever. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.